The big story, Michael Sam coming out. How will it affect his draft position? John Mara on Twitter, I just read, said he will not at all be affected on our draft board by him coming out. And I think a lot of people are going to say that, and they'll say it publicly, but you wonder if, in fact, there will be a different feeling privately. Let's bring in a guy who's certainly invested in this, and that's Cameron Weiss. He is Michael Sam's agent with, let's see, Empire Athletes. I can't even read my own handwriting. But, Cameron, thanks for joining us. How you doing? It's Michael and Don.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm doing well. I apologize in advance if I'm a little hoarse. Obviously, I've been on the phone quite a bit the last day or so.
I can only imagine. All right, Cameron, first off, do you think that this is going to affect your client's draft position?
I don't, and the reason I say that is because there was so much knowledge out there already about him being gay that if it was going to affect his draft position, it was going to already. And, we tried to curb the media firestorm as best as we could by doing this 3 months in advance prior to the draft and hopefully letting it die down to at least a reasonable rate, although even that might be naive to say.
So how did his teammates in Missouri handle it when they found out?
Oh, they were great, and I think that's one of the biggest parts of this story that we have to remind ourselves not to forget is that this kid had a team full over 100 guys there in an SEC locker room, just rallied around him, embraced him like a brother, and really protected him. It's pretty remarkable the story didn't get out, over the course of the last year. That's really it shows how much they protected him.
All right, Cameron, here's the question that nobody really has an answer for. I know you and your partners and a publicity firm really handled this very well. You strategically planned when he was going to come out, who was going to be chosen to give the story. ESPN and the New York Times ended being the two groups that did. If it has no effect whatsoever, and people don't think it's going to affect the draft, how come there's not one person that has come out? If it's something that's not possibly injurious toward a player, why has no one ever come out?
It's because it's uncharted waters. People are always afraid to take that first leap, and it'd be naive to say that there aren't gay players currently playing in the NFL.
Right.
And why hasn't one come out? That's not for me to say. But what I can say is that we got a special one here who's got broad shoulders and is willing to embrace this and just have it be positive for him.
Where do you anticipate him being drafted?
I learned long ago that the draft is a crapshoot, and the best prognosticators still get it wrong. If you had told me last year that Matt Barkley would go in the 4th round, I would have told you were crazy. So from what I've heard, anywhere from the late 1st to the 5th, and to give you an idea, the last 7 SEC Defensive Players of the Year have all gone in the 1st round, and Mike just garnered that award this year.
So it would be very odd for him not to be drafted, Cameron. So if he's not drafted, would you take the leap and assume it was because of him coming out, and would you try to maybe file a lawsuit thinking that maybe he was not drafted for that reason?
Yeah, I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but if Mike wasn't drafted, I think that would really speak volumes about what's going on in the league and the way the mindset's been. I think it's important to note, too, that at one time in this country, sports were ahead of the curve. The color barrier was broken in baseball before the civil rights changes had really been enacted throughout this country. And, here we are a little over a half century later, and it seems we might have fallen behind the curve in sports. So I think it's really important that the world of the NFL and inside all these front offices, they embrace Mike for who he is. And that's a person of integrity and a person who's proven himself on the football field, at least at the collegiate level.
Talking with Cameron Weiss, Michael Sam's agent here on the Michael K. Show. There are a lot of stories out today, so for our listeners that might not have read those stories yet, Cameron, walk me through why Michael didn't just keep this quiet. And you said that people might have known, but it wasn't out there. It wasn't official. Why didn't he keep this quiet until he was drafted? What was the thought behind that?
There's a couple reasons for that. And number one is, although it wasn't out there right now, that doesn't mean it wasn't going to be out there in the next couple of weeks. And that's, I can't provide too much more insight there, but we had actionable intel that reporters were willing to act unethically even and break this without any sort of acknowledgement from Mike. Being at the Senior Bowl really opened our eyes as far as the awareness goes. But beyond that, and more importantly than that, is the fact that this is who he is, and this is who Mike wants to be. He doesn't want to have to live a different life all of a sudden because he's trying to play football at the next level. He's a gay man, and he's been an openly gay individual for the better part of a year now.
Cameron, his teammates knew, but how deep did it go within the school, the alumni, the community? Did he have to keep it a secret outside of that locker room as well?
There was really no efforts by Mike to keep it a secret, guys.
Okay.
Like, I really can't stress that enough. Was it known in the community? Absolutely. Was it known by the coaching staff? Undoubtedly. Was it known by boosters and people high up in the administration at Mizzou? That's your guess is as good as mine there. All we know is that it's a tight community there in Columbia. They love Mike. You can see the support that they had shown today. I don't know if you guys saw they put his name in snow on the Missouri field. I think that it really just speaks volumes about the whole community there and the whole school. And the program should just be absolutely commended for how progressive they've been and the integrity they've acted with.
Cameron, at the Senior Bowl, he was questioned by a lot of people about either you or he. I don't remember, but just casually questioned by NBA people or NFL people. Does he have a girlfriend and things like that? I mean, to me, that's abhorrent. I mean, if I came for a job here at ESPN and they asked me if I had a girlfriend, I'd have a lawsuit. Why do they feel that they have the right to ask that? Why does someone's sexual orientation matter at all?
It shouldn't matter at all. But you know what? It's a different world. The locker rooms are different than any other workplace. You know that. That said, should they be held to the same standards that other ones are held to? Absolutely. And last year at the Combine, when a bunch of these kids were asked about their sexual orientations, I think it couldn't really have been better timing for the league to set precedent and put their foot down like they did. And they've been unbelievable here, and they really set precedent. And I don't think Mike's going to have to go through any of that. Were we questioned at the Senior Bowl? Yes. Did I find it abhorrent? No. I more thought guys were just kind of doing their homework on Mike. He was never asked directly. It was all through Joe and myself.
Oh, so they asked you and not him?
Yes.
And what did you say?
It was sort of the stuff that you've read. Does he have a girlfriend? What's his story? What's the family situation like? Does he have a fiance? Does he have kids? It was very, unorthodox ways and a little bit surreptitious ways of asking the question that everyone knew.